The captain stopped breathing mid-flight, until a nurse in 12B ran to the cockpit. At 35,000 feet above the Atlantic Ocean, Flight 782 cruised smoothly through a sky the color of polished steel. 212 passengers slept, watched movies, or stared out the windows, unaware that their lives were balanced on a fragile thread. Captain Richard Hale had flown for over 25 years. He'd handled storms, emergencies, and mechanical failures, but nothing prepared him for what happened 40 minutes into the flight. First Officer Mark Lewis noticed it immediately. "Captain," he said, glancing sideways. Hale didn't respond. His hands slackened on the controls. His head tilted slightly forward. For a brief, terrifying second, Lewis thought the captain had fallen asleep. Then he saw the captain's chest. It wasn't moving. "Captain!" Lewis shouted, shaking him hard. No response. The cockpit filled with a sound more frightening than any alarm: silence. Lewis hit the autopilot and reached for the intercom. "Flight attendants to the cockpit. Now." Within seconds, Senior Flight Attendant Maria rushed in. One look at the captain's pale face and unfocused eyes told her everything. "He's not breathing," Lewis said, his voice tight. Maria pressed 2 fingers to the captain's neck. "No pulse." Her training kicked in. "We need a medical professional. I'll make an announcement." The chime echoed through the cabin. "Ladies and gentlemen, if there is a doctor, nurse, or medical professional on board, please identify yourself to a flight attendant immediately." Passengers looked around nervously. Whispers spread. Fear crept in like cold air. In seat 12B, a woman snapped her screen shut. Her name was Emily Carter. She was a critical care nurse with 12 years of experience in emergency medicine. She hadn't planned to sleep on this flight. She hadn't planned to be a hero either. But when the words medical professional echoed through the cabin, her body moved before her mind could catch up. "I'm a nurse," she told the attendant calmly. "ICU. Take me to the cockpit." The attendant hesitated for only a fraction of a second, then nodded. "This way." As Emily hurried forward, the plane seemed suddenly smaller. Every step felt heavier, every second louder. She could feel the eyes of passengers on her back, silently begging her to save them. Inside the cockpit, the air was tense and sharp. Emily dropped to her knees beside the captain. One glance told her this was bad. Cyanotic lips. No breathing. No pulse. "How long?" she asked. "Less than 2 minutes," Lewis replied. "Good," she said. "That's good." She tilted the captain's head, checked his airway, and began chest compressions immediately. 1, 2, 3. Her arms worked with precision, years of muscle memory guiding her. Sweat beaded on her forehead. "Do you have oxygen?" she asked. Maria rushed to hand her a portable oxygen unit. Emily fitted the mask and continued compressions. "I need an AED. Now." Maria ran. The cockpit filled with the rhythmic sound of compressions and Emily's steady breathing. The autopilot hummed quietly, holding the plane steady as chaos unfolded just feet away. The AED arrived. Emily tore it open, attached the pads, and stepped back. Clear. The machine analyzed. No shock advised. Emily swallowed. "All right. We keep going." Minutes stretched into an eternity. Her arms began to burn. Her shoulders screamed. But she didn't stop. She couldn't. Finally, the captain's body jerked slightly. Emily froze, fingers on his neck. "There," she whispered. "I've got something." A weak pulse. Then a shallow gasp. The cockpit exhaled as one. "He's breathing," Emily said. "Barely, but he's breathing." Lewis felt his knees go weak. "You did it." "No," Emily replied firmly. "We're not done." She stabilized the captain, monitored his breathing, and adjusted the oxygen. He's had a cardiac arrest. He needs a hospital immediately. Lewis nodded. We'll divert to the nearest airport. Outside the cockpit, passengers sensed something had changed. The tension softened, just a little. Minutes later, the captain stirred. His eyes fluttered open. Emily leaned close. Captain, you're okay. You're safe. Don't try to move. His voice was barely a whisper. The plane? It's flying, she said gently. And it will land. Tears filled his eyes. As the aircraft descended toward an emergency landing, Emily finally allowed herself to sit back. Her hands trembled now that the adrenaline faded. When the wheels touched the runway, applause erupted throughout the cabin, raw, emotional, uncontrollable. Paramedics rushed on board and took over. As they wheeled the captain out, he reached for Emily's hand. Thank you, he said. You saved everyone. Emily shook her head softly. Just doing my job. Back in seat 12B, Emily stared out the window as emergency vehicles passed by. Her heart still pounded. A flight attendant approached quietly. The captain asked me to tell you, he wouldn't be alive without you. Emily smiled, tears finally spilling. She wasn't famous. No one on board knew her story. But at 35,000 feet, when the captain stopped breathing, a nurse in 12B became the reason 212 people made it home alive. And sometimes, that's more than enough.